happy Tuesday. It's another Tuesday trivia day where we learn about a great artist, like a legendary artist. But before we do that, we'll do a little bit of moving and grooving. But I will tell you that right now I am standing in front of a house. There's a lot of bushes around. There's a White House behind me, and there's a lot of beautiful bushes around this house. This was the former home of the legendary artist that we are talking about today. So before we do that, let's do a little bit of moving and grooving. And since this legendary artist became popular in the 1930s, late 20s and 1930s, a moving and grooving today's song will be from the 1930s, okay?
Oh, baby, don't you want to go back to the land of California, to my sweet home, Chicago? Oh, baby, don't you want to go? Oh, baby, don't you want to go back to the land of California, to my sweet home, Chicago? Now 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4. I'm heavy loaded, baby. I'm booked, I gotta go. And baby, why don't you want to go back to the land of California, to my sweet home, Chicago?
Alright, guys, let's be next to stop.
2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 2 is 6. You gonna keep on looking around?
Alright, guys, good. I hope you enjoyed that. So our Tuesday trivia question for today. I am standing in front of the house of Hattie McDaniel. Actress Hattie McDaniel is who we're going to learn about today. Hattie McDaniel was the first African American actress ever to win an Oscar. She won the Best Supporting Actress Oscar in 1939 for her portrayal of Mammy and Gone with the Wind. She is so historic. She broke down so many barriers. So she is who we're going to learn about today. She was born in Wichita, Kansas on June 10th in 1893. Sorry about that. She was born June 10th, 1893, to a family. She was the youngest of 13. Her parents were former slaves. She died on October 10th, 1952. She was a legendary actress. Now, she was one of the first actresses to have her own radio show. One of the first African American actresses to have a show on the radio. She was the first African American actress to have a television show called she broke down so many barriers. A lot of times she got criticized for playing maids because she did play a lot of maids, and she got a lot of criticism for that. But she used to say, I'd rather make $700 a week playing a maid than $7 a week being a maid. So she is very proud of her work, and even though there were people who criticized and said playing maids is a stereotype for maids, African American Sylvia the stereotype, she took a lot of pride in her work, and she was an activist in the community activist and such a powerful barrier breaker in the entertainment industry for women, for African American actresses. So I wanted to share a little bit of her story today. We're gonna watch a little bit of a documentary that on her life and see some of her work and celebrate some of her work. And then that will be followed by her historic Oscar-winning speech. So you'll see the documentary clip of her work followed by her historic Oscar-winning speech. Okay, so let's go to both of those clips.
Ooh, just hold on and suck in.
For her memorable win an Oscar,
was a real milestone in the Academy's history and in film history.
but it also created controversy.
She played this maid in Gone with the Wind as Mammy. She was so much more.
She was given an Oscar for a role which really demeaned people of African descent.
She gave her Oscar to Howard University to inspire students.
Avalon first opened in 1923, movies were silent. Then came the talkies. And then in 1939, Gone with the Wind was one of the first Technicolor epics. And in that same year, Hattie McDaniel won an Academy Award for her portrayal as Mammy. She was the first African American to ever be nominated for an Oscar, and probably the first to ever attend Oscar night. It would be another 24 years before another black actor, Sidney Poitier, would win for his role in Lilies of the Field.
And the winner is Monique, in Precious, based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
Last year, when Monique won for her riveting portrayal in Precious, she proved that even today, the name Hattie McDaniel still stirs hearts.
I want to thank Miss Hattie McDaniel for enduring all that she had to so that I would not have to.
That night, Monique wore a brilliant sapphire dress and gardenias in her hair. It was a moment that was meant to be.
Here at the Avalon Theater, they've probably screened hundreds of classic movies like Gone with the Wind. Based on Margaret Mitchell's best-selling novel of 1936, it promised to be a cinematic tour de force. Producer David O. Selznick pumped up public interest by launching a worldwide search to find the actress who would play his heroine, Scarlett O'Hara.
But the competition for the role of Mammy was equally intense. Today, it is hard to imagine anyone else in the role but Hattie McDaniel.
No, you ain't. You can't show your bosom for 3 o'clock. I'm going to speak to your mom about you.
With her commanding performance in the sprawling Civil War tale of Southern life, Hattie McDaniel made Oscar history.
Keep the shawl on your shoulder.
But Hattie's journey to stardom and critical acclaim was a long one. Her father, Henry McDaniel, was born a slave and fought for the Union Army. Growing up, Hattie often performed with her brothers and sisters in minstrel shows. Following in her brother Sam's footsteps, she moved west to join him and her sister Etta in Hollywood in 1931. Kim Goff Cruz never knew her famous great-great-aunt, but she repeats stories her dad Edgar tells about Hattie.
So the three of them were really very much in Hollywood, and we used to rehearse lines together, which was kind of fun. And they would rehearse the line in dialect and make fun of some of the language, but make sure that they got their line cold.
After years as an extra, Hattie began to get better parts, like this one in Alice Adams with a young Katharine Hepburn. But her role in the 1934 film Judge Priest gave her a chance to show off the song and dance skills she had learned as a child.
Tomorrow he's got to be like Mr. Sampson, saving Daniel from the lion's den.
Performing alongside one of the most popular entertainers of the day, Will Rogers, the part of Aunt Dilsey helped raise her profile, won her praise, and led to other parts, like the role in Lost in the Stratosphere.
You're funny, Ida. First you accuse me of being in love, and then you try to convince me I'm not.
Oh, you was in love, all right, but not with Lieutenant Wood. You was in love with Lieutenant Cooper, and you knows it.
Later, she played Queenie in Showboat, appearing with the acclaimed singer Paul Robeson. When Gone with the Wind went into movie production, other actresses lined up to try out as Mammy. Legend has it, Hattie edged out the competition by showing up for her audition dressed in costume.
Gala days in Dixie. Streamlined Wings of the Wind bring Hollywood to Atlanta for a history-making world premiere of the motion picture epic Gone with the Wind.
By December of 1939, Gone with the Wind was one of the most anticipated movies of its time. Its flamboyant producer, David O. Selznick, and the city of Atlanta threw a lavish party to celebrate. Thousands lined the streets for a glimpse of the stars.
Glamorous Vivian Lee takes a bow as heroine Scarlett O'Hara.
Though Selznick invited Hattie, segregation laws in Georgia kept her from attending. When Clark Gable threatened to boycott the event on Hattie's behalf, she urged him to attend and help promote the film.
Gone with the Wind writes history, a new chapter in film triumphs.
She lived in that parentheses of sanctioned discrimination. It was a dirty time in American history.
Instead, Hattie attended the Hollywood opening. She even felt the sting of discrimination again on Oscar night.
She and I think her date were seated at their own table. They were not with the other nominees from Gone with the Wind or really with anybody else.
It was such an when she won and she got to go to the front of the room. Imagine the significance of that, just the geography of that room and her march to the front.
No question that the fact that she was the first black, not just actor, but any kind of artist to win an Academy Award was a real milestone in the Academy's history and in film history.
Hattie basked in the Oscars' glow, posing for publicity photos and enjoying the headlines in black newspapers like the California Eagle. But even before her award, some in Hollywood had begun to criticize her and other African-American actors for accepting roles demeaning to their race.
Here's the taxi, boy.
Come on, Ida.
Nobody was offering black actresses work as judges or scientists at that point in history. She did what she could, and she made an absolutely terrific career out of it. So even though she mostly was relegated to playing maids, she did that with a distinct flair.
Hey, cut them monkey shine.
If you paid attention in the maids that she played, she always ran the household. She was always the voice of reason.
Hattie continued to work, sometimes with her brother Sam, in movies like The Great Lie. Hattie's stock answer to her critics? I'd rather make $700 a week playing a maid than $7 being one.
But fundamentally, she thought the audience was smart enough to be able to put something in the context and not assume that that was her.
She said, in my home, I am Hattie McDaniel. On the screen, I play a fine maid. So she was able to separate that.
Off-screen, Hattie lived in style, often dressing in furs and driving around Los Angeles in her green Packard. When she married her third husband, James Lloyd Crawford, she threw the party of the social season. Here's what her great-nephew Edgar remembers about his aunt.
She was a woman of substance, and I think that's the way he thought of her, and that's the way he describes her when he talks to me about her. She was the life of the party, very family-oriented.
But Hattie was never to have a family of her own. She divorced, married, and divorced again before the decade was over. When she bought a home in historic West Adams, her neighbors sued, claiming black residents violated the community covenant. The case went all the way to the Supreme Court before the angry neighbors lost, and Hattie was saved from eviction.
I have a date tonight.
A date with a boy?
Sure.
Over time, Hattie found work in Hollywood drying up. Times and roles had changed. The Big Wheel was her last movie. In all, she appeared in more than 300 movies, playing a maid in 93 of them.
Ed Wynn. I'd like like to hear you do it. Will you?
When there wasn't a movie, she was still okay because this woman was a comedian. She was a singer. She was a dancer. She was still able to carry on when Hollywood said, well, we don't have a script for you.
Some of these days, you're gonna miss me, honey.
In search of a new venue, Hattie reinvented the role of Beulah for CBS Radio, attracting 20 million listeners every week. When that popularity led to a television series, Hattie moved onto the small screen with her usual energy.
Well, that looks pretty good.
Oh, it does, Beulah. It ought to. The prices they're charging, I didn't know whether to cook it or deposit it.
I think she was someone who had very big talent, very big dreams, and was always looking for ways to express that talent.
But Hattie filmed only 2 episodes of Beulah before she fell ill with breast cancer. Within a year, she was dead. Thousands attended her funeral as her death made front-page headlines in the Eagle and the Los Angeles Times.
She wanted to be buried in Hollywood forever. She expressed that, and then her secondary request, in case they don't let somebody of my race be buried there, I mean, can you imagine? Her secondary request was Rosedale.
On November 1st, 1952, Hattie McDaniel was laid to rest in the Angeles Rosedale Cemetery. Even in death, it seemed she could not escape second-class treatment. In one of her final acts, Hattie McDaniel willed her most valued possession, her Oscar, to Howard University.
And handing that most coveted prize to Howard University, she handed them over the right to be a steward of that prize.
It was her sense that was a good place. It was a safe archive. She also wanted to make sure that she encouraged, as she did throughout her life, young actors to continue to pursue their dream.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that and loved learning about Hattie McDaniel. And not only was she a great actress, I hope you're inspired by maybe what she had to go through. Yes, she has many honors. She has 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She was inducted into the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame, and of course, her historic winning Oscar in 1939. She came from a very poor family in Wichita, Kansas. And look at how far she came, and look at what she had to go through. That was talked about in the documentary, and think about how hard that must have been for her to not be able to sit with her fellow actors at the Oscars, to not be able to go to the premiere like actors to go to now. All those things must have been incredibly challenging for her, but yet when she won her Oscar, which is so emotional, she held her head high, and she was a very strong and powerful force in Hollywood. And that's why I wanted to watch part of that documentary. There's several on her, but I like that one, and to share part of her legacy with you guys, which is what we'll be doing each Tuesday, to be learning about a powerful actor who paved the way for future artists to come behind them. So let's go do our bonus round. Bonus question number 1. What year did Hattie McDaniel win her Oscar? Bonus question number 1. What year did Hattie McDaniel win her Oscar? Bonus question number 2. What was the name of the television show that Hattie McDaniel starred in? Bonus question number 2. What was the name of the television show that Hattie McDaniel starred in? Bonus question number 1. What year did Hattie McDaniel win her Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress? what year did she win her Academy Award? Bonus question number 2. What was the name of the television show that Hattie McDaniel starred in? You can look it up on Google, go back at the answers are in the class video today. Those are your 2 Tuesday Trivia questions. You can either call me at 323-364-2478 and leave the answers at a voicemail, or you can email them to me at dejclass@gmail.com. That's dejclass@gmail.com. All right, guys, thank you for joining me today. I'll see you tomorrow for Motivational Wednesday. Let's end it the way we begin it, with a little bit of moving and grooving. The Count Basie.